You know, the title of this this sermon he got gave me is called "I Need a Miracle." And I didn't realize how it was going. Like everybody was able to, feel the same way. As I was telling some people throughout the week, I was inviting some people, whether they came or not. That's up to them. But I invited people, and I would tell them what the title was, and they said, "Oh, me too." So a lot of them aren't here today. But don't we all need a miracle?
Amen.
Right? We're going to talk about a story here in a minute. The first thing I wanted to say is, I realized something this morning as I looked across all of you, is that I want to thank God for something. Because the first miracle that I see, I'm starting to see a lot of miracles, is that I can honestly say that I love every single one. Amen. Like for real. Like really. And I know that sounds petty, but you don't know the Moses that I know or used to know. I love myself. Amen. And so know that if you aren't here or if something happens to you, it's going to hurt me. That's a miracle. And I give God thanks for that. I have a big family. I mean a real big family. I got a big family on both sides. I got a real big family. Amen? Amen. Man, thank God for opening my eyes to some things this week. We're going to talk about this wedding. How many of us love weddings? Raise your hand if you love weddings. RC, put your hand down. I'm just kidding. We all know RC's got an amazing talent for decorating all these amazing events. And weddings are stressful, aren't they? Or was I the only one that went through some stress during the wedding? Right? Weddings are beautiful, but they can be stressful.
Amen.
We just read a passage in the book of John about this wedding at Cana, or Cana, depending on how you want to pronounce it. And I'm going to go over a couple of things. We won't be long. And I just want to touch on some things. But I really love at the beginning of John, which is one of the Gospels, right? John is just giving his eyewitness to what's going on. And the first chapter of John, he spends the entire chapter. Should I read? Should you believe me? Don't believe me. But the very beginning starts, in the beginning the Word already existed, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He existed in the beginning with God. God created everything through Him, and nothing was created except through Him. And for the rest of the chapter 1, He spends proclaiming, proving His point that Jesus is God. Amen. He's one of the few that right off the bat, he spends the entire chapter of chapter 1 he's just testifying, and he's just proving his point that Jesus is God. Not a little lower than God. He is God. Amen. Amen. Lord. So we go through chapter 1, and that's day 1 after he gets baptized, and then day 2, still the end of chapter 1, and he starts rounding up his disciples, right? Real quick. He starts getting his disciples, and Peter and Simon and all that. But I don't want to spend too much time there. And day 3, on my version it says the next day, but on the one you read it says the third day, right? The third day, look how quick things are moving along. He goes to a wedding. So the author John is letting us know that Jesus is God, He is holy, and then we find Him at a party. Right? The first major event. He's at the party with his friends, the disciples that were invited. So he's at this wedding. And let me tell you, the weddings, if you don't know, at this time are a huge, long celebration. And this is a time where you will prove to the people around you, because it's like a small community, so everybody knows you, that you are mature enough to handle a marriage. This is a big deal for the guy, especially the groom. Because this whole time, this engagement, this betrothal, he has been storing, or should have been storing up the things that he needed, storing up the food, storing up the wine, storing up all the things that he needs for this celebration. Because here's what happens. These things are a week long, and the family that you invite, they have to leave their homes. They have to leave everything. So basically, you're providing for a whole week of food and wine. Y'all know how much we hate for people to come over for Christmas for 2 days. And it's hard. You want them to leave after 2 days. A whole week of eating and drinking. And that is one thing that this man, this groom has to do. Or the family, the father of the groom, has to provide for. It's a big responsibility, isn't it? Gentlemen, or us who have children or families, we feel that pressure sometimes. Maybe we have to feed our kids every day. Right? Brother, I want you to see if you'll show this little video. I like to use visual so that we can kind of see things, okay? Especially for the kids, because I skipped out on the children's message. So let's take a look at this wedding in Cana for a second.
We have no more wine.
I must see my son.
Your mother is coming.
They have no more wine.
What wilt thou have me to do for thee, that will I do. For mine hour is not yet come.
Whatsoever he saith unto you, see that ye do it.
Gather the water vessels and fill them
Fill them.
with water. And bear unto the governor of the feast.
This is the first wedding feast I have ever attended, where the best of the wine has been saved for last.
The reason I wanted you to see that is because maybe now we feel a little bit of the pressure. The party's going on, the wine is out, and this is a huge deal. Some scholars say that you could be sued for running out of wine. And you know, it's not necessarily that people would get drunk, because that was the law. You could drink wine, you should drink wine, but being drunk was not a good thing. So here he is in the situation. Jesus is attending, he just started, remember? Third day. And his mother comes up to him and says this. Let's read it real quick. The next day there was a wedding and celebration in the village of Cana in Galilee. Jesus' mother was there, and Jesus and his disciples were also invited to the celebration. I found it interesting that the author doesn't call her by name. She says Jesus' mother is there. And this plays into a role a little later. You see, actually through the whole book here, he's not going to call her by name. Even into the day she's standing before him at the cross, he was still referred to him as Jesus' mother. It's not out of disrespect. It's just that at this time, he's in charge. He's in a situation with his father. His business with the dad now. Right? I'll go back there in a minute. So anyway, the wine supply ran out during the festival, so Jesus' mother told him, we have no more wine. What I want us to focus on as we go forward is, in this story, in this crisis, the wine is run out. the application to our lives is, what have we run out of? Amen. Have we run out of patience at home? Have we run out of love for our spouse? Have we run out of faith? There's so many things that you can put in there. What about romance in our marriages? Have we run out of romance? The same God that's going to handle this situation can handle that. Amen. So, dear woman, in another version it says, woman, that's not our problem. Jesus replied, my time has not come yet. And I know it sounds disrespectful, but in this time that is not disrespectful. Like I said, there's a separation here, not out of love. He respects his mother. But there's other business that needs to occur. And it began the day he was left at the temple, remember? That's when things shifted. So what are you doing? He says, what do you mean? I'm here tending to the business of my Father. What are you doing? There's a disconnect and a shift. And it's important that we understand that. Now, mother being mother, right? Because it doesn't matter how successful you are in your life or how old you are. When mom says something, she means drop what you're doing and come help me, right? My dad is the same thing. He's like, he'll call me and I'll be in a busy meeting people who I think are important, they're not important to him. And he would say, my home is, I need this, and this, and this. And now, when I'm like, but I'm busy. But that's mom doing her thing. But don't you think just for a second, maybe mom might have known there was something special about her son? Moms know. She knew. We don't know. The Bible doesn't say. And that's our creed. We don't speak what the Bible speaks. And we speak what the Bible speaks. And that's it. But there's also other studies too that there might have been other little things along the way. I'll let you discover that on your own if you want to. The point here is she knew something. She knew that he could help. You saw how long she took to get up and said, oh, we gotta go see my son. Right? Mothers know. Now she says these critical words that I think for us today is going to be the most important part. Are you ready? Verse 5. But his mother told the servants, do whatever he tells you. You know, when we look at, from the, there's an image, there's a picture on there right next to that video, and I want you to put it up and leave it up if you can. Go to the right there, that one. Just leave it up there. So let's stay in this way. So the first people that we notice right now is Jesus, right? He's glowing, we love Jesus, and then we see the figure of his mother, who we know is Mary, but we see these other guys. And if there's anything that I want us to look at the perspective of today, is from the servant's perspective. Okay? Because a servant plays a huge role. And in our reality, if there's anybody that we can compare ourselves to, it's going to be the servant. Amen. Right? Or we should. Because we can't perform these movies. So, you know, I want to touch on this because my heart's pulling at me to do it. In his mother's approach, sincere approach to help because there's a need, she asked Jesus to help. And today, the Universal Church, the Catholic Church, really holds on to this. And this is one of the reasons why they prayed to Mary on your behalf to ask them to do this. It came from this story. Because if you get to the mother will get to him and he will answer. But we know in our hearts that Jesus, John just told us, he is Lord. Amen. He is Lord. He's the one that's going to make the difference. Mary's intentions were good. And we know here the story that Jesus ends up doing it, right? How many of us have been in a situation where our parents tell us to do something and we're like, no, but it ends up being the right thing to do? That's why Jesus did what he did. Not because his mother asked him to. Because in the split second, probably consulting with his Father in heaven, said, it is your time. Sometimes we're like, well, it is the right time. There was people and things that needed to happen at that very moment. But we need to make sure that we understand who has the power. Who is connected with God? Who is God? And that is Jesus. Amen. In this moment right here. His mother tells her servants, do whatever he tells you. Mom sees the need. This is very important. Because we know how the story ends, right? We know the water turns into wine. We know that you saw it. And everybody's surprised and he's sustained. But if the servant doesn't do what he's told to do, the miracle does not happen. Amen. He has the power. You know, the problem with me, maybe just me, is that I'm the servant and I'm in the service, but sometimes he says, this is the instructions. Let me go here. It says, each could hold, Jesus told the servants, fill the jars with water. When the jars had been filled, he said, now dip some out and take it to the master of the ceremonies. You see, what happens with me is that I just say, oh, okay, you know what, there's a quicker way to do things, or there's a different way to do things. Let me just fill one jar with this, and then I'll take it to so-and-so, and they'll give it to the servant. Or, you know, there's a different way. Don't we do that? Kids do that to us, right? We do that to our parents. But there's a different way. But I told you to do it this way. That's sometimes what happens, and it prevents us from the miracles in our lives. He says, you know, it's not about what you do. It's if you listen to me. If you listen to me, I'm going to be the one to make it happen. Just listen to the instructions. But that servant did the exact thing he was told. And mind you, this is crazy because these pots, these water jugs are not used for drinking. They're 20 to 30 gallons. They are used for washing. And washing and dirty. How many of you, you see how much antibacterial soap we have around here? How many of you, after washing in somebody's bathwater, are going to take a nap in bathwater again and again and wash your hands off of whatever you're working with, dead animals, whatever, and keep washing? And that's what these jugs are used for. But Mary tells the servant, do exactly what he tells you to do. And Jesus says, fill them up. Guys, sometimes God asks us to do things, and we just, I don't know. It's just, the miracle is right on the other side. Right on the other side if we just do what he tells us to do. Amen. And these canisters are 30 to 50, or 20 to 30 gallons. They're big, and they're used for that, and it's used for dirty. You can already hear where I'm going with this one. It's dirty water. And what does he transform it to? The best wine that headmaster has ever tasted. That's what we are. We are dirty, used water, being pushed out, rinsed out from the world, do it again. People use us. We have that water gets murky, and God has the power and the authority and the ability to change us from dirty water to this amazing wine that no one's ever tasted before. But we just need to listen. We need to do what he tells us to do. And we know the commandments, and we know the guidance, and we know the problems, and we know these things. But we don't do what he asks us to do. But this servant, or servants, followed his instructions. When the master of the ceremonies came, he tasted the water that was now wine, not knowing where it had come from. Though the servants knew, he called the bridegroom over. Isn't it funny sometimes when there's miracles in people's lives, and you're praying for them, you're praying for them, you're praying for them, and finally, this happened, but you as a servant, you know what happened. You know where it came from. You know. Not everybody in the wedding didn't know. Hey, I don't even know if the groomsmen know. But, and the wife, I hope the bride didn't know, she was freaking out. But they were afraid to shame the whole family, but the servant knew. And that's what we should be. When we're praying for somebody, when we're praying for our spouse, we're praying for our church, when we're praying for the people out there, and then things turn around, we know who created the miracle. Thank you, God. So he called the bridegroom over, which I'm sure he was ecstatic. You know, if I was the groom here, I would really like them to say my name. So I could be like, it was at my wedding. You know, that happened at my wedding, you know? But God knows that. And here this master of ceremony says, a host always serves the best wine. Then, when everyone has had a lot to drink, he brings out the less expensive wine. But you have kept the best until now. We know that. I mean, if you've ever had a drink or if you've ever experienced that in your life, I hope you don't. But you don't taste much after a few. They all taste the same. Right? I mean, or don't agree with me, that's okay. They don't care. It all goes down the same. You know, everything tastes good. Food tastes good, everything, because you've lost your senses, you've lost your taste, you're not functioning right. And yet this master of ceremonies gets this cup of wine, and he tastes it, and he says, this is the best wine. And this is crazy, because usually this doesn't happen this happens in the beginning. That's speaking to our lives. You know, our lives are good. They were good. But how many of us know that once Jesus performed the miracle in our lives, it got so much better. Life tastes better. Happiness was better. Family was better. Freedom was better. That's the transition, the transformation of our lives is a miracle that happens every day. And we don't use the word miracle because we're afraid, because it's an old word. It's an old word. We need to start putting that word into our vocabulary throughout the week. And America is, this person's great at miracle. Because they associate miracle with like moving a mountain and some of those things. But there's a miracle every day. Me standing here is a miracle. I promise you, my mom knows, my dad knows, some of my close family knows. It's a miracle. Amen. It's a miracle. But he performs them every day.
Amen.
To wrap this up, that's what it was going to be long. This miraculous sign in Cana, it was the first time Jesus had revealed his glory. And the disciples believed in him. So this miracle, who was it really for? It'd say the bridegroom and the wedding. It was for the believers. And they believed in him. Amen. See, the miracle can happen, or we can ask for the miracle, but if we don't believe in it as believers, if we don't believe in it, it loses its power. We take away from God what he can give over and over and over again, and they believe in it. And the disciples and Jesus from here on begin a huge ministry for the next 3 years, changing the face of the world. Thank you. But they believed in this little wedding in Cana. At one point, I'll go back to that one thing, was that now he's dealing with his father. Because that was his purpose. Mary was a vessel. And she cared for him. And you know what? God's so perfect that he did God's will and pleased his mom at the same time. Isn't that crazy? That's how perfect he is. The first miracle was performed at a wedding. And I think about it, and I think, because that's where it's needed most. Today, God can work and will work miracles in our marriages, in our relationships. Because let me tell you, things like divorce and generational curses are running rapid. And we have a God that can perform a miracle. All we have to do is cry out to him like Mary cried out, like the bridegroom cried out and said, I need a miracle. That's what I need right now. I need a miracle because I'm not going to change it. This person doesn't want to change, or this situation doesn't want to change. My financial situation doesn't want to change. The people in my work don't want to change. But I need a miracle, and then believe that he can do it, and then do what he says to do. Remember, things are going to run out in our lives. Here, the wine ran out in our life. Sometimes love runs out. Patience runs out. We talk about romance. We're caring for each other. Just caring for other people runs out. You just get bitter. You don't want to care for somebody. But I'm here to tell you, just like there, God's a party saver. He saved your party. He'll save your life. And give you the best wine for last. The rest of your years. After God makes that transformation, the rest of your years are the best years of your life. Just like that wine. The best one. And they don't understand it. The world cannot understand why. I'm going to leave you with this last thought. And this is for mainly the men, but sometimes women can be a little much. one key here is that the bridegroom, remember, we're the servant, right? That's what we want to associate ourselves with. But for a second, how Jesus wouldn't have known if his mom wouldn't have said anything. And his mom wouldn't have said anything if the bridegroom hadn't said anything. So it's easier if I told you all right now, stand up and say and tell somebody, I need help. Kind of hard to do. But if I told you, look at somebody and tell them, you need help, that's a lot easier. Oh, sister, you need help. Oh, sister, you need help. Oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. But you know what I'm saying? To tell yourself, I need help. And that is the key. That's what switched this into motion, was this situation saying, I need help. As men, we look at it as a sign of weakness or being afraid. I need help. You have brothers, we're setting up these women's fellowship, men's fellowship. God is moving us in a direction. We're not even doing it on our own. God's moving this thing, and this is His time. These are these people that are placed in your life. I just told you, I love you all. Well, we can say, I need help. I need help with this anger. I need help with this addiction. I need help with the pornography. I need help with my jealousy. I need help with this lust. I need help with this thing. I need help. I need a miracle. There's no room to be self-sufficient here. That's the problem of our society. We want to be independent. We don't want help from anybody. We don't want help from our parents. We don't want help from our pastors. We don't want help. We don't want help from these people that are designed in these special ministries to help us with our problems. But we can do it. We can do it. He says, I'm sending you people. I'm giving you what you need. Ask for help. Our goal is every day, and I know some of you do. I know my sister, my brother here, a lot of our elders of our church are really great examples of this. And they have learned to just ask God for help in everything. Everything. No matter how small or how big. And you know what's cool is the Bible says that even if you make a mistake, He'll correct it. But you're asking Him for help. And King David did the best by asking how and when he should win a war. And the moment that he did not is when he fell. Ask for help. The last thing I want to do is just open our eyes. We're going to sing a song here that says, I still believe. Because here you believe that you're the same today, yesterday, and tomorrow. He's the same Jesus, the same God that created a miracle there. The same God who created miracles throughout the entire Bible, healing the sick, opening the eyes of the blind, raising people from the dead. He is a miracle worker. And He's the same one. But I wanted to sing a song. I'm going to try to sing a song. I'm kind of a little nervous because one of the authors of the song is sitting right there. It's my Aunt Lydia. I called her earlier this week and she was in San Antonio, kind of threw me for a loop because she showed up today. I'm like, oh great, I was telling my wife. Pray for me because one of the people that wrote this song is sitting right here. Her husband wrote this song called I Believe in Miracles. And I'm not going to sing it all because I don't have her voice. But I want you to understand how simple it is. Okay, it says, I have my little cheat sheet right here. Lord help me. It says, lost in darkness, I didn't know which way to go. Sound like anybody? Looking for the answer that no one seemed to know. Guided by misfortune, I was going the wrong way. But then my Jesus touched me, and this is why I say, I believe in miracles. They happen all the time. I believe in miracles. And here's a reason why. 'Cause Jesus healed my broken heart. He dried the tears from my eyes. And I believe in miracles. For a miracle am I.
Father God, King of heaven. We ask for your love, Father. We ask for your guidance. Forgive us, God, for just trying to do things on our own, Lord. I'm totally guilty of that, God. Knowing that you're Messiah, you're the God, you're the Lord, you're the one with the power. Lord, forgive me for making my own instructions when you give them to me, Father. Adjusting them, like if you need my help, God. Teach me to just obey and do what you say. Read the Bible, Lord. You have all the instructions, Lord, and on our guidance on what to do and what not to do, God. Bring those to life in our lives. That we can see clearly, God, that you are still the same. And we still believe in you, God. That you are a miracle worker. Whatever situation, financial, marital, just health-wise, God, you are it. You are the beginning and the end. You have the answer to all, Lord. And we ask for your help. Forgive us, God, for ever trying to do things on our own, Father. We believe that you are powerful, that you are the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, Father, and you are a way maker and a miracle worker. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.